The processor is what makes the computer work. All data and instructions have to pass through it. The processor takes in raw data, it performs tasks called for by the software, and it communicates with the rest of the computer through the motherboard. The processor does all of this through rows of switches. In fact, the history of the processor is really just a story about switches. Early computers processed information with thousands of switches like these. Vacuum tubes. They were big, bulky, and hot. And the ENIAC had over 18,000 of them. In the late 1950s, the processors used a switch like this. It was a lot smaller and it put out a lot less heat. By the early 1960s, the switches had been shrunk down to this size. As for the computer, well, that's another story. But it wasn't until the 1970s that all the processing functions of a computer could be put onto a single chip. Here's the first microprocessor, the 4004, invented by Intel in 1971 for this calculator. People called it a computer on a chip. Microprocessors could be programmed to perform many different tasks, and as computer hobbyists soon realized, these processors could be used as the brains of a personal computer. Since the 1970s, microprocessors have been made much smaller and much more powerful. It's really the processors that have driven the computer revolution.